Hello dear students. In the previous video we have discussed with the introduction to risk management, meaning of risk management, definitions of risk management and concept of risk and risk management through the span. Okay. In this video we'll go with a step-by-step process of risk management. Okay. There are mainly 7 steps of risk management. First is establish the context, identification, assessment, potential risk treatments, create the plan, implementation, review and evaluation of the plan. Okay. So first let's go with the first one, that is establish the context. That is nothing but how the risk been there, okay, or in which scenario the risk been there, okay, whether in stock option or whether in stock futures or whether in indices, like that. Establishing the context includes the planning the remainder of the process and mapping out scope of exercise, the identity and the objectives of the stakeholders, the basis upon which risks will be evaluated, and defining a framework for the process and agenda for identification and analysis. Okay. The next step is identification, that is where actually the risk is. Okay. After establishing the context, the next step in the process of managing risk is to identify potential risks. Risks are about events that when triggered will cause problems. Okay. We need to make an identification where actually the risk is. Okay. In derivatives there are majorly 4 type of portfolios, right? That is stock option or stock futures or index option or index futures. Okay. So after identification we need to assess that particular risk. Okay. Once risks have been identified, they must be assessed as to their potential severity of loss and the probability of occurrence. Always for the investor there will be 2 probabilities, that is either profit or either loss. Okay. If they are going to take the highest risk, then they will be on the highest profit. If they will be take the lower risk, then they will on the they need to bear the moderate, or they may go with the loss as well. Okay. These quantities can be either simple to measure in the case of the value of a lost building, or impossible to know for sure in the case of probability of an unlikely event occurring. Okay, if any unlikely situation or conditions happen, then those kind of things are very critical to understand. And the next 4th step is potential risk treatments. Once risks have been identified and assessed, all techniques to manage the risk fall into one or more of these major 4 categories. Okay. One is risk transfer, risk avoidance, risk retention, risk control. In risk transfer, we may transfer the risk which is arised for us to other. In the process, what we call it as hedging. Okay. Hedging means nothing but shifting of the risk for other person. Okay. So that we can do. Okay. And next is risk avoidance, that is the risk neutral type of investors will do these kind of a risk avoidance. If the contract becomes goes as falling in the prices, then the investor will stop investing on it and they will just hold the securities. That is the risk avoidance. Risk retention means here the risk averse type of investors will come. That is, risk averse means they will take more and more risk and they will earn the more and more profit. Okay. Next is risk control. In risk control, which kind of a category of investors will come means it is between of risk avoidance and the risk retention, because in the risk avoidance completely they will take out, right? In risk retention, they are ready to take any kind of a risk. Okay. In risk avoidance, purely nullify of risk. In risk retention, high risk will be going to triggered out. Okay. But in risk control, how it will be there means, up to one level or up to one boundary, they are ready to take the risk. Okay. After taking one level of risk, they will stop investing in particular contract. Okay, because they are not have the capability to move further. So that is why they will be going to kept as idle. That is what the risk control. That is, in first step we will be going to know the context, how the risk is actually in the. Next is identification, where it is actually there. Next is third one is assessment. We need to assess that risk through that software what I have told you. And next is potential risk treatments. That is the risk what is arised for us, how as an investor they will be going to treat. The first kind how they will be going to treat means risk transfer. And next is risk avoidance, risk retention and risk control. Okay. So the next step is create the plan. Whatever the treatment we have identified, in order to execute that, we need to make a plan. Alright. So if we are going to transfer the risk for others, then whom should we transfer the risk? Right? We need to plan for that. And next is risk avoidance. That is, once if the price is falling, then how we need to stop that particular contract, or how we need to justify that contract. Okay, we need to make a plan. And next is risk retention. So to how much extent we are able to take the risk. Okay, because as and when we wish we can't take the risk, or as and when we wish we can't lower the risk also. We need to go in a very smoother way. Okay, then only we can be able to get the profit, otherwise it's not possible. Okay. And risk control. So in order to control the risk, how we need to make the plan. Okay, that is the fifth step. And in the sixth step, after making a plan for those all the risks triggers, we need to implement those plans into action in order to mitigate the risk in the process which is arised. Okay. And after that we need to review and evaluation of the plan. That is, after implementing we need to monitor. Just implementation is not enough, we need to monitor that. See, once we are getting to bus, just we can't sit where the still the last bus stop will come, right? Where our destination will be there, we need to get out of the bus, right? Like that we need to monitor. Just implementation is not enough, we need to monitor that plan which is made out for the triggering of the risk. Okay. There are actually two primary reasons for the review and evaluation of the plan. First is to evaluate whether the previously selected security controls are still applicable and effective. That is, whatever the risk strategies been followed by the investor for the past trends, okay, or for the past risks, whether if those plans been implemented, whether those are effective or not, we need to identify first. Okay. And the second thing is to evaluate the possible risk level changes in the business environment. Okay, that is how the possible level changes of variations will be going to occurs in the risk. Because on the first day of the month the risk may higher, on the 15th day of the month the risk may be moderate, or on the last day of the month the risk may be lower, very lower. Okay, that is this investment activity or managing with the risk is like one of the jumble activity. We need to manage as per the daily transactions or daily turnovers or daily what we are going to make an investment. Based on that it will be going to judged. Okay, one day I may get full overloaded profit, or one day I may get full loss, or one day I may get moderate profit, or I may get moderate loss. Okay, this stock market investment plan not only just in derivatives, in all the financial investment avenues like this only the risk management will be going to done. Okay, and wherever the risk may arise, okay, there will be a different sets of risk management strategies are available. Okay, see, in our daily life if the problems will arise, then we will find out the solution, right? Like that only, if any kind of a problem will arises in investment avenues also of the derivative contracts, that is derivative portfolios are four. That is stock options, stock futures, index option, index futures. Along with that swaps and currency, interest rate derivatives, those are all there, but very popular are options and futures. Okay, if any kind of issues will arise in these two type of a contract, then these are the things or these are the processes of managing the risk. Okay, in the next video we'll go with the general ways of managing the risk. So in this video I'll stop here only. If you have any doubts, please put in a comment box. Thank you, students.